Okay. Hello. Today I will try to show you how I handle my um, PHP projects. I do PHP and Go, but I see more people have seen more people having trouble with Docker that use PHP rather than Go, because Go and Docker, they get along quite well, but PHP doesn't. I will show you the setup I find best for me. So there are others. There's like images, Docker images with Apache, and Docker images with supervisor, and a bit weird. But I think I will try to show you how I handle my apps. So let's create a Symfony project. I came just Google like how to create a Symfony project. I haven't used Symfony in a while. So let's see. So here, it's like you have like this Symfony binary, which we won't use. So we have this composer, create project, Symfony website skeleton, blah blah blah. So we try to use this one. Okay, so we can run composer from Docker directly. So we will do this. If you do docker rm, rm is for remove. So as soon as the container finishes, we remove it. So let's do docker run. We'll run a container with composer and see that I have everything. So this is perfect. So what we can do is like composer create project, and we'll say like test app, something like this, and this will work, and it will start will install your Symfony app within the container, and when it finishes it will delete it, because it doesn't when you delete a container, you will delete everything within it, and this is creating the project within the file system of the container. So it will work, but you will lose all your projects. So this is not very nice. So just cancel this, and let's go to projects, and then go to like Docker, like PHP, Docker. Okay, so we have this, and then we will have the same like docker run, rm, composer, creator. Okay. In order to get the actual project, what I would do is like say, okay, I will set the working directory, which is the default directory where everything will run by default, and then I will mount my current directory, which you can interpolate like this, and then we'll mount our directory in /app. So everything that will go on in /app will be binded to our directory. So now should be alright. So we say like test app, something like this, and now we can wait until this is done, and we will have our project created in where we want, and we won't lose it. Okay, so this is finished, and we can see the test app directory is there, and if we check this test app, it's alright, but if you check, all the permissions are wrong, because we're running the container as a root user, so we really don't want this. So what we can do is like chown this chown. We change the owner to like my username is Agustino, my group is the same, and these will do. We can change like test app. Oh, we need to sudo this. All right. So if we do like this, okay, everything belongs to me. So that's perfect. So okay, let's cd this, and then what's next? Okay, what's next? Okay, well, let's just make our app run, right? We need a running app to work with it. So what we could do is, let's see, we have this public, right? So this public directory is the one that we need to serve, and we have PHP images, right? So let's use them. So let's do the same. Let's run. This TI is like, let's say, it's interactive terminal. I like to think of it like this. But basically, this is making it interactive, and this is like TTI. I won't go into details, but if you put these options, you will have a more verbose terminal. So okay, let's run this. The image is PHP. Let's do the same as before. Just set the /app as working directory, and then let's mount our current directory in /app. Then we can and do serve this into any address at port, let's say 8000, and the directory will be like public. Okay, so this is the image PHP. Let's run 7.3 CLI. I already have it, I think. So okay, so docker run blah blah blah, these images. So what are we running? Okay, so docker, we are running everything, so we need the docker run. Okay, so okay, it's saying listening on blah blah blah. So let's access this, right? Like localhost 8000, nothing's doing, there's nothing here. Let's do like docker ps, let's see if this is running. Yeah, so oh yeah, that's why it's not running. Why it's not running? Because we are running on the port 8000, which is okay. But we need to say, okay, it's like we need to say at the port 8000 of my computer, like the docker host, which is my computer now, will be binded to the port 8000 of the container. So if I run it this now like this, I can do like this, and okay, so it says Flutter Composer was created for PHP version 7.4, but the current version is 7.3, so we'll need 7.4, which is not a problem because we have Docker, so we don't really care. Just change 3 for 4, and that's it. You don't have this mess of versions. So you run the version you need for your project, and that's it. Okay, let's see now. Great, so we have a Symfony app running, right? Okay, perfect. So let's see. Blah blah blah. Okay, so in order to run our application, we have all this, which is not that pretty, right? So let's change this. I want like an easy way. It's very important to have an easy way to run your application. So let's open this thing. Okay, what is this? Open editors. Okay, this is very weird. I'll open it again. I think it was already open, like a whole thing. Okay, so I have my project. So what we can do is like do something. There's one thing called Docker Compose. So we create a file that dockercompose.yaml. Okay, so this Docker Compose file will help us to basically to put all this as in a declarative way, so it's easier for us to run it. Let's put it to code, and then it will be easier to understand. So Docker Compose, you can have like versions. You can use this version 3. I think it's up to date, so it should be alright. And as services, you can, like, one service will be one process basically. So we want one, which is the PHP server, right? So let's see. Let's put here our command as a comment, so we can see what we need to run. I mean, if we run this, it works. So we will try to reproduce this in the Docker Compose declarative syntax, so it's easier for us to run it. So we'll need our service will be like PHP, because we need to name our service. And inside the service, we can start putting all these options. So this, we won't need it because of the way that Docker Compose works. And this either, because we really don't care about the output right now. And then the port, yes, we do care, because this is one configuration we want to set for our container. So let's do like this. Like ports, I have like an autocomplete for the VS Code, which is alright. I'm not sure. Let's do 8,000. Okay. And then the working directory, will be /app. Okay. So now we will want to volumes. We can say like this, because in the command line we cannot use a relative routes like this. We cannot do this, because if we do this, it won't work. We can try. Instead of this, we say like this. It's like it's not working. It doesn't like it. So here, the one nice thing about Docker Compose is that we actually can do this and say, okay, my current directory, I want to map it to /app, right? So the container has everything it needs to run. So we have the volumes. So the image as well we need to set. So we can copy these, because our project needs PHP 7.4, which is okay. And then this command we need to run. So for this, we have two things that you can configure. We'll use you have command and args. We'll use args for this. I don't want to get really deep on this matter, but basically args is this of the Docker run command. This will be args, and command will be the entry point of the image, which is the main command that will be running, which you can change, like doing this entry point, and you can do sh or something like this. But we won't be using it, because this image works like this, so it should be alright. And we are missing this, -t, and then we say It's public directory. So you can also write it like this because it's YAML, so maybe it's easier to write it like this. Okay. Okay. So this should work, I believe. How do you try this? Okay. So before we had to write like lots of things, which is really hard to remember, and it's really easy to get it wrong because you need to think every time we want to run it, which port do I need, and blah blah blah. And if we want to share our project, we want other people to run it as easy as possible. So instead of this, now we have our Docker Compose here, the YAML. If you run Docker Compose command, like with H, you will see that you have one option that is file, which the default is docker compose.yml, right? And our is YAML, so we change this to YML, so it's like the default file. So okay, so now we can do like docker compose, and we can say up. So if you do this, it says it's invalid. Services ports contain an invalid type, should be an array. Okay, let's change it. So these ports, it's an array, so you put an array instead and try again. Okay, unsupported config option for args. So the autocomplete, so it's try command. Okay, now it's working. So so we have, oh yeah, so you have, so this is the thing. So let's put some comments. So basically in Docker you have, when you're writing Docker files that we will do later, you have two instructions. So you have like entry point, and you have CMD. So basically entry point is the main command that will run, and then the CMD is like the arguments. And I got confused because in Kubernetes you have command and as entry point, and then you have like args or arguments, I cannot remember right now, for CMD. So anyway, here it's the same for Docker, so you have like entry point and command. So we'll use command for now, should be alright. Anyway, this is running 8000. Okay, see, everything's working. So as for this, you can go to the like create readme.md. It's like test project, and I would always recommend you to always write as much as documentation as possible for other people to work with it. Like usually when you work in a company, you have other people working with it, like maybe not at first because you're writing it, but then some people will eventually want to work with that. So it's really good practice to leave documentation how to run it. Like you can actually put like how to run it, how to run, and then you can say you should also put like requirements. So for this you don't need PHP, so you just need Docker and Docker compose. Okay, so you can also put links to your requirements install page website, but for this purpose should be alright. For this demo it should be okay. So how to run, you can do like this. This is markdown syntax, you can check it online, markdown. and we'll put some code here which will be what are we running. So okay, I won't go into detail on how Docker Compose works. See, this is not a Docker Compose tutorial, but how to run this. So basically we are running Docker Compose up, and see that if I press Ctrl C, it goes away. So usually you would want to put -d. This way it runs like in detached mode, so you get your terminal again. So you will want to run this command. So you can copy this and then do like this, and then like let's check Docker PS. I have some other things mine here of mine, so this we care about this. It's up, so I will go for 0. Like you can do like Docker Compose down. This will remove everything from your Docker, like all your Docker containers and networks that you need. Like right now we have very basic setup, but then we will have more advanced things. So it's Docker PS, and there's nothing related to what we're doing. So I always recommend you to do things from scratch and try like copy paste the commands you're putting in your readme files, and try and check that it's working, right? This way you make sure that that if someone runs this, it will work eventually, right? So this actually won't work if someone runs this, because the vendor folder now it's okay, it's full with all the dependencies because we installed it, but people will have to install the dependencies. So let's uninstall the dependencies to simulate that someone new is going to work with this. So we really don't want this vendor folder, so we can do like rm rf, like the whole vendor folder should be okay. So we will be more or less like this. We'll have a warning and everything. So what we will want to do is like docker run rm, let's do like interactive terminal, and then we'll have the same /app -b, let's do the same /app, and then we can do composer install. No, let's try this. Okay, so it's working. So we'll copy this, and this is like okay. So this will be only the first time you will have to run this. Yeah, only the first time, and then you can boot it up. And it's finished working, and then everything's working again, like, yeah. Okay. So if someone gets their hands into our project, if they run these commands, they will be able to run it. And this is very important, that people can follow simple instructions. And actually you can say like how to run, you can say like install dependencies, and then do like this, and then like run the application, right? Okay, you can also put instructions on how to like not run the applications, like put it down, like shut it down, like so you say shut down application, and then you can do also with language, it's like docker compose done. Right? We can copy paste this and make sure stopping all the okay, so it's not working, and then I run the application. Okay, and then we check it's working. So perfect. Okay, so this is already quite nice. So we don't have to have install. We don't have to have PHP installed. We don't have to have Composer installed. We don't have to have anything installed. Just Docker and Docker Compose, which is alright. So, for example, what about when we need like a database, right? So that could be a problem. So let's check the documentation on Symfony and check like guides and put like databases and have this like okay. So installing Doctrine, and first install Doctrine, blah blah blah. So let's do like this. We won't install the maker one now. What is that? Okay, so we have Composer. And we just have this. Yeah, this is require blah 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 or unpack. Okay, we already installed the unpack, right? And now it says configuring the database. So it says database connection information is stored in an environment variable called database URL. For development, you can find and customize inside the .m. So, okay, the .m file is something that Symfony has to make it easy for developers to have environment variables set for the PHP project, because sometimes it's not very easy to set up your environment variable, and when you have different projects, you will have like different environment variables, and you want to like mess up your environment with having lots of environment variables for different projects, and your operating system becomes a bit messy. So the solution that Symfony came up with is this. So it gives you like that .m file, which you can read and make it available for your PHP application without having to set the actual environment variable for the operating system. So here what it's doing is like saying, okay, this database URL will be this, right? And this will make it available for PHP when you use like a getm. I think it's like this, like database URL, or you have like, I think it's like this, database URL, or like this, depends on the version. It's like this is the I think is the best one. Anyway, I really don't like this way of setting environment variables because it's confusing. I mean, I just had to explain you what this was. So I will remove it from here because I don't like it, and I would remove everything from here. So let's copy everything. I don't like this M file. This I will remove it. This for now. Yeah. So I will add in my Docker Compose. So the good thing about Docker is that you can store the environment variables and set them to your container directly. So you can say environment, and then you can just say, okay, put all these environment variables available for this container. So I will just do this. This, I will need this. This will be production configuration. This is commented, so it will make no effect. And this, okay, I fucked up. This was only this database URL. Fuck my life. Like this. .m. No, I don't care about this. Okay, so is app secret. This I will need. This I will need. I will need the other one, which I lost. Fuck my life. Okay. Customize this line. Okay. So it's database URL. It will be all this, right? So we just connect to MySQL, DCV, this database user, this password, this host, blah blah blah, and then this DB name, and we can do it like this, like server version. It was run here. Yeah, include your server version equals. It's saying like MySQL. Let's use this version, right? Okay. So if you come here, it says uncall, never to read the .m file. Why is it reading it anyway? We can remove this. You don't want the m file. Request config bootstrap. Let's try this because it's somewhere it's like reading everything. Okay, low m bars if local, blah blah blah. We don't want to do this. Okay, it says environment variable not found, database URL. So why it doesn't exist? Because it doesn't exist even we define them here to be part of the environment of our container. We need to restart our container, right? So we can do Docker Compose down. I think we can do Docker Compose restart, but for now we use Docker Compose. It should be okay. Okay. Now we can use Docker Compose PHP, and that's it, right? And it's working. If we can check this, I think there's more information here. Yeah. So we can say configuration, enable bundles. There's environment dev. I think there's one place we can check the environment variables. This view PHP info. Yeah. Environment. So we have the database URL set and everything, and we don't really need to read from a .m file because we don't really care. And this will be very helpful when we deal with environments like production environment, development environment, staging environment, and so on. So we will need to connect to a database, right? But first we will need some entities. So let's go. entity and create one. I will use I would use PHP Storm because I like it better, like the autocomplete and everything. I like it better than the VS Code. Okay, we'll cancel this. I don't want to load. Okay. Let's open this, and it's in projects. I have a lot of shit here. Sorry. Okay. Projects, Docker, like PHP. I think it's PHP. PHP, yeah, Docker, where is it? Oops. Am I going mad? PHP Docker, yeah, well, I was going mad. Okay. So we have this. Okay. Let's do like entity and then be a class. Let's put, let's say user, something like really quick, like namespace, app, entity, something like this, and then slash. I think we can configure this like Symfony, yeah, now plugin, blah blah blah. I think it's something like this. It needs to restart anyway, so let's do so. So okay, let's check. Create an entity class, right? We don't have this installed. So we can just copy this. Okay, so we didn't install this maker bundle. I want to add more overhead to this. I'm creating one, I just check the output. So is this, right? So we do like this. Check entity, just user. Okay. So the repository class, I don't care. I won't have any for now. And let's just copy this. Yeah, name and price should be alright. Okay. Okay. Let's do like quickly. This should be okay. Yeah. Right. Have this there. It's ID and name and price, which we don't need for now because this is like a sample. Again, I don't want to get into the code, which is I just write this like very quickly and very sketchy. This should be an integer or nothing, and this as well can be no. So anyway, so we have this, right? And to run commands in our container, we can do so. Okay, if you check the Docker PS, you can check your containers. You can check this is a container what we are running. So you can do like docker exec interactive terminal. So again, you can say okay, execute in this container. You can do like PHP like manufacturer's version, and you will have like 7.4, right? So you can actually run things in this container because it's up. And you can also use this name to run this. Should be the same. Okay. I would use this name instead of this ID because this ID would change in every machine, and you will want to put some of these commands in the documentation, and this will never change. So what we can do is like access the console from Symfony console, and you will have everything, right? So you want to do like doctrine database create, something like this, or schema create or whatever, and it says could not find driver. And this is an actual issue because we will want to have the MySQL driver, right? So what we can do about this? So we can go to like a Docker PHP image, right? Let's Google this and we find this. I will need the PDO extensions, right? So it says how to install more PHP extensions. So inside the PHP images, we will have these available commands, right? So if we run them, we will install this, right? We will install this, not this, sorry. Okay, so we can actually install this like this and says usage install xname, and like look at this PDO MySQL. So let's do this xPDO and PDO MySQL, right? So it's actually doing it. We do lots of things. There's one, now I'm finishing the other one. Should be quite quick. Okay, now let's do this. And it says connection refused, but we already have the driver. The thing is that if we want everyone to be able to do this, we will have to add these commands to the README, and it's not very pretty. We don't want everyone having to run this every time they run the project. So what we can do is to create our Docker image, right? So let's do that. I like creating like this, like a build folder for all my stuff, and here we can do like a Docker file. There you go. So this Docker file, I won't go into details about syntax, but we will run it. We will build it from the image we are using right now here, which is the PHP CLI. So we just copy this here, and here we want to run this command, right? Because this is what installs the extensions that we need. So we can use like a run this command, and that's it. I think this is a very basic image, but it will work. So we go here and we have, okay, so our service PHP will run from this PHP 7.4 CLI image, but this is not good. We want our image, and what we should put like something like this, right? Docker file, something like this. But this doesn't work like that in Docker Compose. What we will want to do is to say build, and we can say Docker file. It's in build / Docker file, and then we can put we can say the context is this directory. If not, for now we can leave it like this. It will be helpful for the future, but for now it should be the same. So let's do it. Let's try to put Docker Compose app -d, see what this does. So okay, it's building it. So we'll get the PHP 7.4 CLI image, then we'll install everything, and we'll use that. So it should be alright. We'll be recreating this. Done. So let's check. Our app is working, and if we run this database create thing, now okay, now it complains it cannot connect to a database because we don't have one. So what is the solution for this problem? Okay, we have two options. One is to install MySQL directly in our computer, but we don't really want that because this database we'll use only for this project, and I don't want to install MySQL in my computer. So what we can do is to add another container. So one service will be PHP, the one running getting the requests and processing the request, and the other one can be like database. So let's put like just MySQL, and then we'll use like image which image. I think you can do like Docker search MySQL, something like this. Okay, so you can do like search MySQL and yeah, like 5.7. I'm not sure how to search for tags. So anyway, just let's do this, like use this MySQL 5.7. I don't know. Let's try it like this. So let's do this, right? Like we can set up this MySQL. So we can actually do Docker Compose up. It's creating this, so it's actually quite good, right? Docker PS. So we have this, and then we have MySQL, which is great. So what if we run this database create? It cannot connect. Why? Because we are not, like, we're using this user and this password, which is probably wrong. We didn't set up anything. And in order to set this thing up, we try to check the MySQL image, how it works. You should always check documentation on how it's working, of how images work. This documentation on MySQL image is really cool. It's really complete, and here you can see lots of things, like how to start a MySQL instance. Just run it like this, like okay. So let's see how environment variables. So we'll set this. So what we want to do is to set up, to tell MySQL like which user to create with which password, and we'll, yeah, and that's it, right? So what I like to do is to create like a user and password. I don't like using root user. So what we'll do is use these variables. For example, these are what we're going to use, and says these variables are optional using constructors to create a new user and set that user's password. This user will be granted super user permissions for the database specified by the MySQL database variable. So we will want to set the three of them, right? So we say environment MySQL user, and let's say like test user. Let's put user, and then for my SQL password, I will just like a local password, something like this. I don't care. This is for local environment. We are not going to expose this database, so it's safe to set like a fixed password. And then my SQL database. So the documentation says that if we set these variables, MySQL will create this user with this password and grant permissions for this database. So we say, okay, database test, right? Okay. And then I like to put this MySQL random root password. Let's set it to yes, so the root password is not accessible. I think it's like this. Okay. So let's do this. Let's try again. Docker Compose up. Of course, you will want to use it. So the user will be this, the password will be this, should be okay. But the database will be like this. This version should be alright because they are both the same. But what about this? Like, this is the default port for MySQL, right? So let's try this. If you do Docker Compose app and Docker Compose detects changes in your Docker Compose file against the thing that is already up, it will recreate the things that it needs. So you can just do Docker Compose app. Okay, let's try it again. Create database. So it says connection refused. It says why. So where the PHP app needs to connect. Like, remember, this is for the application that will be running within the container, like inside the container. So this will try to connect to the port 3306 inside the container, which it won't work because only port we are exposing now is the 8000, right? So what we will want to do is to connect to not the same container, the PHP, but the MySQL container, right? So how do we do this? What we can do is to create a network. So we can say, we can do like this, like networks, and we can say like PHP network. I don't know, let's put something else. Wait, this will be the PHP MySQL network. Will be which we will connect both PHP and MySQL containers so they can communicate with each other, because by default containers are completely isolated and they cannot talk to each other. And then once we have our network created, we can say, okay, connect this container, like connect this container to these networks, and we can do the same with MySQL, right? Okay, so let's try this. No, this won't work. Let's try Docker Compose app. See, it's saying creating network with the default driver. So it's creating this and this. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, what we forgot to put is this. Okay, so how can I access, now they are connected, right? How do I access this container? So what you can do is like this, I think, like aliases, and you can set like aliases for this container. So I will just put like database, I don't care. So this means that within this network, any container can connect to this container through the hostname database. So let's try that. Okay. Again, we'll update our containers because we changed some things. So look, it's recreating everything. Because we changed this variable for this container and this network configuration for this container. So we can now try, let's do it like this, like doctrine, schema, create, I think it's like this, dump SQL. Okay, so now it's trying to, let's try to create. Okay, database already exists, so we have the connection, right? So we will want to create a schema. I recommend using migrations for this, like in a real world project, but for a demo it should be alright. So you have two options. You have like force or dump SQL. So I want to dump SQL. So it says ORM entity is not imported. So okay, this, I'm not importing this, so I just copy this very quickly, and in my user.php. Okay, what about now? Okay, so it says the following will be executed, so let's do this, like schema create. It's not force an option. Okay, I agree with this, you should not do that, right? Okay, so this is okay, and this way Symfony can connect to database, and we can run like whatever we want, like a database like drop. I think we need to force this. Okay, so then we can do like create this, we don't care, C, and then like schema create, and it will work. So yeah, like we have our application running, up and running with Docker. We'll probably want to put this in the documentation, you know, like let's say, okay, just run the application, like install dependencies and create database schema, right? So we can do like this. First we'll install Composer, and then okay, we will have to do this after we run the application, like create database schema, should be okay. Okay, so if you run this before this, this container will not exist, so you will have like an error, like container cannot find containers, something like that. So this should be okay. So how to run? Install dependencies. I recommend you start from scratch, and we can continue. I will try to make another video on how to upload this to Git, like create a pipeline, how to like create environments with this, how to automate tests and deployments, and how to use PHP-FPM, because right now we have in our Docker file we're using this CLI, and what we are using for running our server is this, which if you check the documentation on like PHP development server, if you check this, it's in Spanish. Wait, let's change it really fast, really quickly. Yes. So it says this web server was designed to aid application development. It may also be useful for testing purposes. It is not intended to be a full-featured web server. It should not be used in a public network. Okay, so we should really not use this. And what I would use is PHP-FPM. So okay, so let's add PHP and FPM before we do, right? So okay, first we'll need to update our Docker file to not use CLI, but like FPM, right? Okay. So working directory, I don't like to use the /app. I like to use this because it's like an NGINX something default directory, like this, and we will do like this. And so the good thing about this is that it's like a PHP running a web server, which will listen for this. But PHP-FPM doesn't work like that. So it doesn't serve HTTP. So what we will need is like an NGINX to use as a proxy, like a for a web server. So let's add this. So let's add the NGINX. We will need the ports for NGINX. Let's put this. The default port for NGINX is the 80. So we will map our 8000 to the 80 of this. And for PHP, we don't really want to expose the ports. And we will leave this as it is. We will do the same for this. Okay. And so because PHP and NGINX, they both need the same the files in the same directory kind of to work. Actually, NGINX, we only need the public directory. He doesn't care about it. So we can do like public /index.php and then do like this. I won't go into details about how NGINX works, but we'll need to update its configuration, and we will check where it is. So we can check this and how this works. Proxy like a default. Okay, let's check the image, how it is. Okay, let's check NGINX user blah blah blah. I don't care about this. Complex configuration. Yeah. And this, because this is the configuration for NGINX, and I don't want to change this, but the website let's check for Symfony. Let's do like this: setup, creating, configuration guides, deployment, event, HTTP. Okay, let's check here. If not, we can check elsewhere. Deployment basics, using build blah blah blah. Okay, it's not here. So configuration. Okay, we can also Google like Symfony NGINX, something sure. Okay, so this is what I was looking for, configuring a web server. Bash, not this, NGINX. Okay, the minimum configuration to get your application running under NGINX is this one. We will copy this. Okay, here's more documentation, so this is good. Accept PHP, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. Okay, we'll need this configuration anyway. So I like to put this in the build folder as well, like nginx.conf, and we have this. Okay, so the root will be bar blah 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 /html/public server name. You can use like this, so it's for everything, and this we don't care, and this is proxy path Unix. Okay, so this is the interesting part. So this says when you want to access the index.php, we'll try here. It will send that to PHP to process. So this is using like a Unix socket, which we don't have. So what we will want to point this to is to our Docker PHP-FPM container. So okay, first we have FPM here, right? And let's see what this does as it is. Let's just Docker compose apps -d. Okay. NGINX, it needs like image, will be NGINX for this. I would always recommend you to put like a fixed tag. Like for example, this we can use like 1.17. Should be alright. Let's see this. Can start Vine port is already allocated. Yeah, of course. So let's do Docker compose down first. Yes. Okay. Creating blah blah. So everything's created. So we can check like Docker PS to check our containers. And here it says NGINX and it's point 80, so it's okay. And the PHP, it says nothing. So by default, this is exposing the port 9000. Like if you check like this PHP, okay, if we check this and FPM, don't be afraid into going and checking the Docker files from PHP. Should be alright. You will always learn something. Like, okay, let's check tags. Let's look like FPM and do like this FPM buster. Okay, this is the one we want, right? So we can come and check, and it says expose 9000. So this is where we want to go. From NGINX, we want the request going into our host, like our machine, like a Docker host on port 8000, and then go to port 80 of NGINX. And then NGINX will get the request and pass it to the Docker, like a PHP container. So to do that, we can set an alias like we did for this from MySQL. So we can do the same here. Okay. Aliases and do like PHP should be alright. So here we can access PHP and put 9000. Right? This should work. But we need this configuration in somewhere. And Symfony, no, wait. So NGINX needs reads configuration from by default. Let's check. It must be somewhere. Like NGINX default site configuration, right? Should be somewhere. Okay, I like this beginner's guide. It's perfect. And configuration file, blah blah blah. Yes, I think it was like my default dot. Okay, I like this. The way NGINX and small work is determined configuration file. By default, the configuration file is named NGINX and played in blah 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 blah. Local etc. No, not this, because I don't want configuration for NGINX, but the configuration of the website. So default configuration files. So let's do something better. So let's run and remove NGINX and let's run, let's say, bash. Okay, this is not working because we need to be interactive terminal. Right? Okay, so I'm inside NGINX. And NGINX, Okay, right. Let's exit this. If you run bash in the console, you can like enter into the terminal, into the container that's running. Let's map the port 80, like 8001 to the 80, so we can actually see something. Okay, so if I go with my localhost 8001, okay, because this doesn't work because NGINX is not actually running. So let's go to let's go to /etc NGINX and go to confd, and this default.conf is the one I want, like default.conf. So this one has like, see, this configuration is the one we want. We don't want this running, this root nginx share HTML file. Now this we want to put the other one. So it's this directory /default.conf, right? So let's do that. With nginx, we will want to map this, but we will also want to put our build / where is it, like build /nginx.conf, nginx.conf, and we'll want to put this default, what's the name, .conf, right? Okay, let's exit this. We don't need this container. So what will happen is that when we go to the port 8000 of our machine, we'll go to port 80 of NGINX. NGINX will be ready, listening to requests and redirecting the PHP request we want to the port 9000 of our PHP container, which is this, and we can recognize because of this. So this is this. So you can, okay, and then everything will work. But look at this. This we don't need anymore because we don't want to use this, right? Okay. So let's try it. Let's try this. It's docker compose app -d. It's recreating everything. It's taking its time. Okay, done. Let's check if it works. Yes, it's not working. Let's check why. Docker ps. So, okay, look, there's only the MySQL container up. If you do ps -a, it's all, and you will see everything. Like, so these two containers exit. Why? Because this, let's check the logs. You can do docker logs and the name of the container to see the logs. So it says no nginx host not found in node PHP, right? Because PHP is not up. Let's check this. Docker logs, and then let's check these logs. It says interactive shell. That's weird, and I would know why. Because this is the thing. When you have in the Docker Compose, you have this build directive, then what Docker will do is like, if you do like Docker images, let's search grep test. No, okay, this is too much. Test app. Okay, it will create this image. If it already finds it, it won't build it again. We'll use the old image, and the old image is using PHP CLI, which it doesn't service port 9000 and can do anything. So what we can do is use like docker compose app -d, and we can also pass this -- build option so it builds. So let's do that, like building PHP. Okay, now it's building from FPM because the other one was CLI and was not very useful. Oh, I'm running out of space. It's true that Docker is a bit heavy and it will get a lot of space from your computer. Okay, so it finished everything, and let's check our containers. So at least PHP is up, right? And NGINX is not. Why? Because it cannot find PHP because they are booted up at the same time. So we want to first boot up the PHP. Well, first the MySQL, then PHP, and then the NGINX. Luckily for us, it's quite easy. So basically we can say PHP depends on, and then we say MySQL, so this is this, and then NGINX, you can say depends on PHP. So let's give it another try. This time we won't put build because it will take a lot of time and we don't want this. Okay, let's check now. So okay, now we have NGINX running, PHP and MySQL running. So let's see, and it's not working. Okay, let's check why. So this NGINX depends on PHP. Let's check the logs. Whenever something is not working, you can always check the logs. So docker logs, NGINX, and it says host not found in upstream PHP. So perfect. And these PHP, you can check like docker logs and check. FPM is not running, ready to handle connection. So this container is okay. NGINX is probably down. Yes, it's down. So yeah, I know why. Because here we created the network for MySQL and PHP, but this NGINX is not in the same network as PHP and MySQL. So what we want is to put both on the same network, but I don't want NGINX to be able to talk to MySQL, right? Because they don't need to talk to each other, so it's not necessary. And I don't want PHP to, I want PHP to be able to talk to both of them, but I don't want NGINX and MySQL to talk to each other. So I can create another one, which one will be like for NGINX PHP, right? And now what I want to do is like here, I want the alias here. Okay. And so I'm putting, there's no alias for PHP in the PHP MySQL network because I'm not pointing from MySQL to PHP, but from PHP to MySQL. So I will do the same here, like networks. Okay, there's two syntax for when assigning networks to a container. One is like an array, and the other one is object-like. The object-like, I use it only when I need to set up some special options, such as aliases for that network. And the NGINX here, I'm not setting anything special, so I will leave it as an array. Should be alright. Okay, so now NGINX PHP NGINX and PHP are both in the NGINX PHP network. And I set up the alias PHP, so I put it here so they can, so NGINX can target PHP. So let's do this. Docker compose app -d. This will recreate something. Yeah, so MySQL is up to date, no need to update this, but the other two, yes. Yes, okay, so we got something. We got this file not found. Why is this? Let's go through our NGINX configuration. So it says /var/ww, and let's see if we are mapping this correctly. So public / yeah, okay. So this will need to be public again. That's why you cannot file. Oops. Okay, it's working now on PHP-FPM, right? So we have our PHP-FPM, we have our database running as well, and we have MySQL, we have everything set up and everything's working. So if you have any questions, you can address them to me. It should be alright, and hope this was useful for you, was useful for some people that want to create Docker images, work more with Docker, which I think is a great tool. It's very useful for everyone to have, and I think that's it. I will try to make more videos